Cedric Golden, Austin American-Statesman, columnist, joins us, 365 Sports. Cedric, we've heard about what kind of a run, the journey of this UT football team, how it slowly but surely with Steve Sarkisian fixed and worked on the culture. And us against the world, embrace the hate and all of that. They don't always live up to that. This team seems to have a lot of grit to it. Your thoughts about that?
Yeah, Smokey, they've overcome some obstacles. There are games that they are involved in that they probably should have worked the opponent. You're tied with Houston in Houston. They turn out to be a bad team. It's 10-10 at the end of the third quarter against Wyoming. So those kind of things could have conspired against them, but they figured out a way to win those games and make that record hold up. They are what they call a revenge tour. They check some boxes. They check the Alabama box. They check the Iowa State box. They check the Texas Tech box. And here they are on the cusp of making some real history. They already have, but much bigger history if they can win a couple of more games.
Well, the Washington box would be another one too, right? Because of the bowl game. So Quinn Ewers, everybody knows how talented he is, but Cedric, and this is just me, I'm not watching them as closely every week as you are, but I always felt he was kind of like right there, and just waiting for that moment. Have we seen his moments in the last couple weeks where he is now maybe broken through and he is exactly what they thought he was going to be?
Paul sure feels like it. It feels like it. He's done what's been asked of him. He morphed from a game manager to a game changer in the last 2 weeks. And when you look at his performances over the first couple of seasons, they've been uneven. 19 of 45, you talk about checking off the Oklahoma State box. He was 19 of 45 in Stillwater with 3 picks. He's his worst game of his career. And then he comes back and he lights it up and just feels like he's approaching the next level in his maturation as a quarterback. He's still only 20 years old, and his best games are probably ahead of him. So, better shape than he was last year, playing at about 195 to 200, getting around a lot better, overcame yet another injury, and he's playing his best ball at the perfect time of the season. So, yeah, I think he's starting to realize that he can be very good at this football thing.
Cedric, just on Saturday, what was the pageantry and just the feel like? Given the game itself, UT was pretty much in control throughout, but, this long-awaited road to the end of the Big 12, going out on top, all that came with that, your mark, the fans, just what was that scene like? How would you describe it on Saturday?
Man, it went from a nice coronation at the beginning into a WWE WrestleMania. Your mark was Dom Mysterio, and I don't know if you guys watch WWE, but there's a guy that every time he touches the mic, you can't even hear him because they're booing so hard. Mm-hmm. And we were in the press box; we couldn't even hear your mark. And I would have loved it for it to have been Texas and OU. That would have been even funnier. But I'm telling you, man, it was a great coronation for the Horns, and let's just keep it real because we keep it real here on this show. They better get it now because those opportunities may not be coming in the near future. They're going to be having to deal with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and Brian Kelly and those guys. We don't expect Florida to be mediocre for long, and you always got Aggie nipping at your heels. So I think this is the best time for them to get it while the getting is good. Washington is tremendous, tough matchup. Michael Penix last year in the Alamo Bowl threw for 280 and a couple of touchdowns. If I told Sarkisian that he was going to throw for 280 and a couple of touchdowns this year, Sark might take that because Penix is on another level now. He's throwing for 350, 400. He's that guy with Polk and Adunse at wideout. So I think this is a prime opportunity not only to win the Sugar Bowl but to win a national championship. And I don't know if I know Michigan is badass and so is Alabama, but I give Texas, if they can get by Washington, I give Texas an excellent chance to win a national championship.
Moving into the SEC, there was a thought that Oklahoma and Texas probably would struggle. I never thought that they would struggle. It wouldn't be like really easy, but this year things have fallen well for them. And of course, they, as you said, survived. I think the K-State game in overtime, Kansas State's at about the 3, 5, 7 yard line. And I mean, my God, if they score right there, then UT's hopes are over. They could still win the Big 12 title. This seems like everything is peaking at just the right moment, not only for this year, though, Cedric, but honestly with what they have coming up next, too. I mean, the schedule might be tougher depending on what you think, but it could not have clicked at a better time.
It couldn't have clicked at a better time, and they got the benefit of the doubt with the selection committee. They went over Alabama. It was momentous. That was the one that carried them through, and no matter what the the naysayers say, the Longhorns went in there against a team that was 52-1 at the house and handed it to them by 10 points. And I know Georgia thinks that they're one of the 4 best teams in the country. I'm not going to dispute that, but remove all doubt. Don't leave it in the hands of the judges. Land a knockout, and then you win. So this thing is falling right for Texas. Texas made their own break. I was one of those that thought maybe if they didn't get in, they were never going to get over the day they let that OU lead get away because it cost them. But they survived that, and now they have a chance to win a national championship. And Sarkisian's done one hell of a job. He got 13-12 entering this season at Texas. That's not those aren't world-beating numbers. But he's got his culture established. It's a player-led locker room. He is an open book. He's thankful for a second chance at a gig like this, and I think that they are making the most of it. This defense is the bellwether of this team. T'Vondre Sweat is the best player on the team. He's the best defensive tackle in all of football. Where he goes, the Longhorns follow. And if they can get Michael Penix off his spot and speed up that little clock in his head, I think they can win this game.
Well, I think after we saw T'Vondre Sweat, catch a pass, like that's got to be in the system all the way through. I mean, I wouldn't want to cover him.
He's a beast, and he's one of those guys that 6'5", 365 pounds, and he's got a never-ending motor. He's one of those guys that's just unblockable. Sarkisian says they've done very few holding calls against him and Murphy, but I just think that he's the one guy that's made it all go on that defense, and they can be had on the back end. They've been burned a couple of times in that secondary by quarterbacks who aren't nearly as good as Michael Penix Jr. So it's up to that front seven to get home, and if they can get home, that makes it easier on the rest of the guys.
Cedric, I came across a clip of the post game there, and you mentioned Dom Mysterio showing your wrestling knowledge there and the heat that he gets. But what did you think of The Undertaker, who I know is a diehard Texas fan, giving Quinn Ewers a championship belt for MVP at the end of the game?
Man, all I was missing was rest in peace.
Yeah, right.
Where's the pallbearer when you need it, you know? And so I was like, man, it was a WWE party, guys. They had the Undertaker there. Drew McIntyre was there. The announcer, Samantha Irwin, was there. She's married to Ricochet. So they had it all going, and man, what a moment. I don't even know if these kids watch WWE, but as someone who tapes it every week, there's like 5 hours of wrestling, and I tape them both, and it takes me like an hour to watch them both because I fast forward through the stuff I don't like. But yeah, for me, I thought that was cool. And, Undertaker's a long time Austin resident, and he's a big time celebrity along with Mark Henry in the 5-1-2, but that was a nice little touch to see Quinn get the championship belt. Hopefully it's not the last belt they get.
All right, so this is the end of the year 3 for Sarkisian. We all know it didn't start well, and last year was kind of disappointing. Now this year has been a great run with still more to get done. Will they outbid themselves and renew his deal? Will they up him? How will they handle taking care of Sarkisian because of the success?
David, they got to be smart, man. you don't want to go down the same road that Ross Bork went down with Jimbo Fisher when you're just adding years. Man, just fatten up his salary, take him to $8 or $9 million a year, maybe 1 or 2 more years, maybe 3 at the most. Don't extend him to 20, 35, because then what happens? He gets in the SEC and then he puts up 3 or 4 clunkers, and then they start whispering about him, because that kind of thing can happen. Give these guys the money on the front end, and don't load up years and then attach yourself to someone that just might not need to be attached to. So for me, I would say give him a big fat raise, but don't keep him around for 20 years, because a lot of marriages don't make it that far.
Thank you, Cedric. Appreciate your time. Great to have you on. Enjoy the next few weeks of you covering Texas in the semifinals with Washington and maybe either Michigan in a rematch with Alabama. I agree with him on that.